Coming to you live from downtown Detroit, this is Benzinga's PreMarket Prep. With your host, Joel Elconin.
This is a volatile puppy here, isn't it?
And Dennis Dick.
I'm bidding a penny. I will buy the stock for a penny.
With everything you need to start your trading day. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this Wednesday edition of Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Spencer Israel, Joel Elconin, Dennis Dick with you this morning. Same theme, buy the dip, although I guess buy the dip and buy the rip here. That's the title of today's show because every dip seems to be a buying opportunity. We're going to talk about that, talk about rallies in stocks like CrowdStrike after earnings. LYFT is up this morning on a headline. The restaurants are up. Zoom, obviously, we will discuss Zoom's earnings report from yesterday. Boeing up today. So we'll just talk through these stocks that are up, and I guess the only way to play them is to buy them. I don't know. Our guest is Bill Santiago. He is a comedian and a trader. He will join the show at 8:35. Hopefully give us some trades and tell us some jokes while he's at it. I'll bring Joel on. Joel, give us a quick update on what happened here in the overnight session. I've been having problems unmuting you the last few days. There we go. I don't know if you did that or I did that, but the floor is yours, Joel.
All right. Good morning, Spencer. And good morning. Looks like we have a lot of new listeners here. A lot of names I don't recognize. Jake, morning from the UK. Thanks for joining us here on Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep. Well, we could just play the show from yesterday, except you did hardly got a dip last night in the S&P futures. New closing high for the move at 77.3077. You only ticked 3074, and buyers came in. Pre-market high 95.25. I imagine we're going to see 3100 today. That's not much of a prediction. It's only 9 points away. Our March 5th high was 3102.50. So that's my first upside target this morning. Crude snuck over $38, hopeful of an OPEC meeting, but that is in doubt. So a little bit of a sell-off here, now down 59 cents after being up over $1. Gold still in that trading range, down $9.20 at 17.16. Silver doing its own thing, up 4 cents at 18.30. And Bitcoin, big range yesterday, holding in at 9,500, up $130. The Bitcoin futures at 9,710. Triple D, you're going to revise your buy the dip and sell the rip mantra?
Yeah, I've revised it. It's now buy the dip and buy the rip. So just buy, flat out buy. I mean, that's what this market continues to do. Obviously, you're looking at it from a fundamental macro landscape, makes no sense at all, but you know what? You can't fight the tape, and I am not fighting the tape on this. Long-term investment portfolio still has a lot of cash, although I added 4 or 5 stocks last week because you can't fight it. When we started taking out 3,000, I'm like, I cannot fight this. I need to have more stocks invested. We know I talked about I bought TAP. Why did I buy Morrison Coors? Because there's a stock sitting near the lows and hasn't gone yet. Well, and that was one that intern gave us in the chat. And if you're looking at your charts, finding the stocks that haven't gone, those are the stocks that people are interested in now. Those are the stocks that are leading the rally, the stocks that are sitting fairly near the lows that hadn't participated up till about a week and a half ago. So, if I'm looking at other stocks, I added Twitter back. I'd sold my Twitter. We talked about that $30 level. I said if it came down there, it was the old resistance becomes new support trick. Perfect technical trade back on the 29th when it hit down to 30.29. Didn't quite get down to $30, but got to 30.30. I know intern in the chat was buying that one too, so it's a good buy down there. It's already up, $2 from where I bought it in 2 days. I talked about this one yesterday. I added Spotify just because it's in consolidation station. I had a good day again yesterday. I think it's going to take out 200. Just my opinion. Again, all of these stocks I will have, these aren't, so Spotify, Procter & Gamble I put in, I don't mind owning that, long term, but these are more like swing trades, like just to have participation here with somewhat of a short leash. If Spotify, all of a sudden the market turns around, starts getting rocked and the sentiment turns, I'll be quick to lighten up some of these positions. But Right now, I see no immediate reason to panic. This market shrugs everything off. It shrugged off the China worries, about the trade deal. It shrugged off the virus worries for the last month. It shrugged off the riots. So you just keep thinking it's like too many people, too worried about the markets with too much cash. They continue to pile in on it. Is it going to end ugly? I think so, but I think we got some time. Like we were saying with Spencer Israel yesterday, you just analyze, the news flow coming into summer. It's probably going to knock the virus back a little bit. So even though we're doing more stuff, the caseload may not necessarily go higher, for the simple reason that it's summer. People are outside. People aren't going to be indoors as much. It's a coronavirus. Coronaviruses don't transmit as much in the summer. So all those things in consideration makes me want to be long still right now. So from a swing trading perspective, I am still long. From the day trading perspective, I'm always hedged. From a long-term perspective, I am still underinvested because I can't fathom buying some of these companies right now at ridiculous valuations. But the swing trades are obviously helping my long-term portfolio for the simple reason that, it's kind of hedging myself that I have too much cash.
Okay, real quick, I want to address a question here from Joseph in the chat regarding the S&Ps and what I talk about at the top of the show. And I'm not sure what time basis you follow the S&Ps or the markets, but my analysis is based on the 6 p.m. open, because the 6 p.m. open represents the true opening for today's session. So the June 3rd session actually starts on June 2nd at 6 o'clock. So what I'm looking at when I talk about the opening, my analysis is starting from that 6 p.m. print. The reason that doing that is a lot of times that the pre-market levels that you see, like the pre-market lows and highs, are never seen in the regular session. So when I am reviewing, it's starting with the 6 p.m. trading. And then when I talk about intraday, it means from 9:30 until 4:15. So just wanted to give you a little clarification on that what I'm talking about, starting with the 6 p.m. trading and, Triple D, that kind of, translate into your trading day doesn't end until 8 p.m. So a lot of the commentary and a lot of the stuff that you give is price action after the official closing of stocks.
Yeah, I'm an overnight trader. I moved to overnight years ago. So, I traded just during the day, intraday exclusively, from when I started day trading with Bright Trading 1999 till about 2013. And then I realized I could make more money trading overnight sessions because we see the big moves. It was back, this has been going on for like a couple of months. This has been going on for a decade, where you have big moves overnight. The liquidity is lower. I moved to headline trading. Well, there's no headlines during the day, very few. All the headlines come out after 4 o'clock. So just my style of trading moved to more of a news flow, news approach to overnight. And that's why, I do trade the after hours and the pre-market sessions more, and I focus there. I don't trade from 11 p.m. to 2:30 p.m. It's too efficient. There's high frequency traders have it very, very efficient. So I don't trade those 4 hours in the middle of the day because it's too efficient. My bread and butter has always been the open. It continues to be the open. But by trading the pre-market after hours, I have a really good feel for where stocks want to be. So if a stock opens away from where it wants to be, I'll take that opportunity. And if it opens too high, I'm going to short it. If it opens too low, I'm going to buy it. And that's just, it's classic Don Bright fair value trading, but with a spin. So, I'm not just, I've kind of used the pre-market and after hours pricing to get a feel for where the stock wants to be. And all of a sudden, a stock opens way away from where it's been trading the entire pre-market. It's an opportunity. So all that kind of stuff goes into my trading. And that's why, I've been fairly consistent here I've been fairly consistent most of my trading career, but it's just adjustments. You've got to always be making adjustments. If I was doing what I was doing 10 years ago, I would probably be out of business. In any business, you've got to continue to change. You've got to continue to adapt. You've got to continue to evolve. And, that's trading in a nutshell. What you do today and what works today will likely not work tomorrow.
Yeah, and that's exactly when we, started talking about, and starting pre-market prep and pre-market info was to take that. So I just wanted to give you an explanation on that. A couple different things to discuss. I guess the hot stock of the day yesterday was Zoom. And Spencer, give us the report. It's kind of where it was when we were talking about on the show yesterday, around the 212, 213 area. It's had a little bit of price action since then.
Yeah, it was a good report. The big question was how many of their new users actually pay them to use the service, and the numbers were better than people thought, which means it was pretty good. The Q1 adjusted EPS 20 cents versus a 9-cent estimate. Sales of 328 million versus a 202 million-dollar estimate. So they beat both the estimates for the earnings and sales in their first quarter. They gave some guidance that was good. They gave some Q2 and fiscal year guidance for EPS and sales. Gave a few stats with regard to how many of their users have more than 10 employees and that sort of thing. The biggest thing for Zoom is going to be controlling their costs, because their costs obviously went up last quarter as they rely on the cloud and other technologies to run their business. So costs associated with their revenue went up, and they're going to have to manage that going forward. But overall, it was a good report.
This was a blowout report. This absolutely, if the stock hadn't run 70 points into the report, this would be up $50 on this. This was a fabulous report. There was the expectations. You have the bar, and Tim Seymour was saying this, and then you have the high bar. They blew away the super high bar. Like, the numbers were just phenomenal. So that's why the stock is actually still trading higher here. It wanted to go down. It was trading down last night. Analysts coming out this morning, multiple analysts giving it love as well. There's multiple upgrades. RBC Capital, DA Davidson. Needham maintains its buy but raises its price target. Rosenblatt maintains its buy or neutral but raises its price target. So just a phenomenal report. Again, this is just, you look here though, and if you were buying calls and saying, okay, I think this is going to continue to run, you're paying $15. I believe those, like in the money, right at the money calls we're going for. You're going to be disappointed here this morning. And the reason is that the stock had priced in so much perfection that it's actually not up much on a blowaway report. So it's all about expectations.
Straddle riders are getting toasted on this, right?
Straddle raiders are okay. The straddle buyers aren't doing very well.
I mean, right. I'm sorry.
It's up 5, but I think it was 30 points. Somebody said, I didn't price it, but I just saw it go multiple times in my timeline, so I'm assuming it was correct. It was $30. So that's wrong. Let me know. I didn't go and look at it myself, but I figured these Twitter traders know what they're talking about, and multiple people said it was $30. So it's, you're getting toasted on it. I mean, straddle rating has always been profitable to a certain extent. If you're right, it seems like they never want to go past that. Market makers, obviously do that as well. I tried trading straddles a few times. I seem to pick on the wrong ones. So I was never, really into options that much. I've always been an equities guy, but it's a big move. It's had a big move. So with that being said, it's up on this report. I don't know how to interpret this one. It's a tough one. You would just think if they came in and they were okay, they were going to hit it. They blow it away. They still kind of hit it, but now it's getting analyst love. It's coming back. The numbers were really good.
Yeah, just to address a question from Mike King. He says he has an in-the-money option and how to look at it. I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it. When did you buy the option? When does it expire? But one thing to look at is, where the option is trading and what that would be for an exit point. Like if you have a 200 option and it's trading at, $25, then the thing has to trade up to 225 to expiration to get your money. So a lot of factors are, when did you buy it? How much is it in the money and how close is it into expiration? So you got to take those into account. Looking at the pre-market chart, they loved it initially, right, Dennis? They took it up to 223.65.
The bots knew that was a good report and they bought the hell out of it.
And
the bot needs to reprogram for like run-ups and stuff though, because I thought about shorting it, but I didn't have the guts because the numbers were really good.
And then it looks like someone just stepped in here at about 5 o'clock and decided that they wanted out of the stock, right? And it was just a step down seller the whole way. Just kept on selling red bars. And then it turned big at 197.56. And is that yesterday's low? Yesterday's low, 197.32. So they got it to yesterday's low, and then the bulls just reemerged here. I don't like looking at this 15-minute chart here. It doesn't look like it wants to go down yet. You just have, step up buyers here now. And I don't know if you're going to see that pre-market high, but good report right now. It looks very strong.
It's holding on.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be short it. I'll say
Nope.
that. I would not want to be short this stock. I
Not
wanted to be short
today.
it last night. I mean, it was 225 for a few minutes, and I gave myself, I'm like, this is a really good report. It came back down. The dip was to be bought. I don't know how they're going to do this. The two factors here are the report's really good, which is going to push it higher, but it ran up so much into the report. The expectations were really
Yep.
high. Who's going to win? Right now, it's still a little bit of a battle here. It's been a battleground the entire after-hour session pre-market. Right now, the bulls are winning a little bit, but not a lot. The sky, it's all sky up above here. Obviously, you go to yesterday's high, and you're trading above that right now,
Yep.
or just at it. So I'd be scared to be short it, but I cannot bring myself to buy it. So this is high risk stuff. I don't like high risk. I trade somewhat high risk sometimes where I can control it. I don't know how to control the risk in this. I don't have a level. I go down to yesterday's low. I'm going to lose 14 points on it. I can't control the risk, so I'm not going to trade it.
I would just say, let's take a step back, from today and trying to nail the high and the low and everything. And just look at this close from yesterday at 208.08, high close, the all-time closing high. So maybe just use that as a number over the next couple of days. If it continues to post, new closing highs for the move, then, that there's still buyers out there, big buyers, or whether it's institutions or small buyers. Good volume is going to have probably a record volume day today. So just keep an eye, don't worry about the highs and the lows so much, even though that 197 looks awful juicy because 197.32 was the low yesterday. And then they walked it down there in the pre-market session. Actually, they got to 197.40, and it gave you a chance to get it down there as well. So really like it above that, but most important all will be that closing price from today at 208.08, and we'll see where we end up today.
Let's talk about its brother-in-law Work, WORK, because that is going to move around with Zoom as well. Again, this has had a big run up into the report. I expect that they are going to blow it away. It was a great buy down in the low 30s. It's runaways here now. So now it becomes more of a coin flip territory. How good do they blow it away? If they beat the high bar, the stock could continue higher. We'll have to watch.
So is it fair to say that Slack's bar is now higher because Zoom's report was good?
I don't know if I would. Yeah, but I think it's going to beat it too. When is it? Thursday night?
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, Thursday after the close.
Thursday after the close. So you got today and tomorrow to watch what happens. Let's watch what happens with Zoom. If Zoom Work is going to follow Zoom to a certain extent here today. Work was trading down last night when Zoom was trading down, and Zoom has obviously come back. Work, maybe it trades up regardless because it's got the earnings report and people like to buy things ahead of the earnings report. But keep an eye on Zoom. If you are trading Work as a day trade, Work is going to be dependent a little bit on Zoom. If Zoom all of a sudden starts to roll over, you'll watch Work roll over too. These two are related right now because the Work traders want to see how they're reacting to blowout earnings. If they buy the hell out of the Zoom today, Work will be significantly higher as well. So keep an eye on Zoom if you're trading Work.
All right, we just got some ADP May payrolls down 2.76 million. I think all these numbers are really just numbers. They don't mean anything. S&P's just blasted to a new high, 3096. I mean, what is it going to, the jobs number on Friday? I mean, if it's bad, they'll buy it. If it's good, they'll buy it. Yeah. So
if it's bad, well, it's going to get better from here. So they'll buy it. If it's good, they're probably going to buy it. The one thing to tell you, just to be cautious, is the risk will happen. Doug Cassaway says the risk happens fast. It will come off quickly when it comes off. So you got to be ready on your sell buttons, because when you see us, start to roll over, and it will happen somewhere in here, it will roll over very quickly because the long trade is crowded right now. It is very crowded. People are like, stocks will never go down again. I have to buy. It's a crowded trade to be long here right now, but you can ride the crowded trade for a little bit. I've been riding it from a swing trading perspective right now. So you got to be careful though, and you got to be able to get out quickly if it goes to turn. I do believe that we could hit all-time highs. I fully believe that. I've been saying it for the last week and a half. I'm still on the bull train for that reason, even though my long-term invest portfolio is light because it doesn't make any fundamental sense. What I tweeted out yesterday and what I was talking about on the show is I invest on fundamentals. I invest on, use a little valuation spin, but I look at the overall picture to determine how I want to be invested. I trade on momentum. So The momentum is clearly still higher. The bulls are in complete control. If you are short this market right now, you are not reading what has been happening here for the last month. So there's been a lot of opportunities, lots of dips to buy. Those have all been opportunities.
Another good report from a cloud company. Let's take a look at CrowdStrike.
Yeah, this was good. They beat the expectations on pretty much every number that they gave last night. So the EPS beat 2 cents versus 6 cent loss estimate. Sales beat 178 million versus 165 million. They gave guidance for the quarter and for the year, and those numbers beat also for the EPS and sales. So everything beat last night for CrowdStrike.
Good numbers. It dipped a little bit. It ripped a little bit on the number, then it dipped back down, and they just
Not
bought
much,
dip.
yeah.
Right away they bought it. It was like $98, $99 and dipped back down to settlement, I believe, around 92, 93, and they're all over it. So they want these stocks. They love these stocks. It's over $100 here now. It hasn't run like some of the other plays out there that have really run here, so I'd be really careful if I was short this. I would not be short this stock.
Yeah, got to boost off the Zscaler, right? And then they come in with their own good report on top of that.
Look at the Zscaler move.
Yeah, exactly.
You think, oh, it's opening up $10. How high can it go? And it's up another 20 in 2 days, 25 in 2 days. Scary to be short stocks making all-time highs. Write that down. Don't short stocks making. Well, actually, I'm sorry. CrowdStrike is not quite an all-time high. We were back in August. We got up to 101.88. So we're 40 cents away.
Okay.
I don't want to be short any stock that's approaching all-time highs or making all-time highs. You are fighting the tape.
Let's see. That was the only number I was going to give. You're right. Back in August, it's hit 101.88.
Big number.
Yep. I mean, that's it. I mean, if maybe there was a seller at 102 back then in August, but who knows now? But just strong pre-market chart. Really, that's the only thing we can give you is that all-time high, which surely will be tested today at 101.88. And if you really want to short this, just take a look at, like Dennis mentioned, that Zscaler chart, and may give you a little bit of second thought.
I'm scared to short anything. Like I retweeted my buddy Cinny there, and he's like, and he trades with Bright, and same thing. It's like I'm short stocks in my day trading portfolio when they're hedged, but I don't even flat out short anything. I don't want to be net short ever. Not right now. I will eventually, and when it goes to turn, I will be all over it. But right now, this tape just fighting it higher. So you got to be ready, and I can turn on a dime. And a lot of times, that's why I say follow me on Twitter, because a lot of times when I change my sentiment intraday, I usually tweet it out because I know people listen to the show. They like the sentiment, what I'm feeling. And if all of a sudden at 10 o'clock I was like, oh man, like that day the banks that they bought them all, I tweeted it out ahead of time, and I'm like, I feel like it's going to be upside capitulation today. And it was, and the banks went down for 3 or 4 days after that, and they've started to obviously come back. But you've just got to look at these setups, and it can change in a hurry. Doug Cass is the same thing. He changes and flips all the time. You've got to, as a trader, you have to be able to change your opinion very quickly. Right now, bull's in control, but that could change. So there's a lot of the reasons out there. Could be a headline, could be anything. But the Bears will have their day again. But right now, I can't see when it's going to happen.
Hey, while we're here, can we look at Cloudera? They report after the close today, and they're
upgraded today.
I didn't see that, but they are due to report today.
Here's another reason for so much, love too. Think about the analysts. Think about how many analysts, have just been given love to everything. You don't see a hell of a lot of holy cow, it's the biggest buyer. Look, can you show the buyer right now on Cloudera?
Want me to show the level 2?
200,000 in the pre-market on Cloudera to buy at 11.90. I don't know. That's one of the biggest, but that's a lot of money. Somebody's buying like 2.5 million. Here's an order to buy $2.5 million worth of stock on Cloudera. That's one of the biggest orders you see. If that order was on Apple or Microsoft, that's a big order. On Cloudera, 200,000. They got 200,000 to buy.
Are they showing it? Are they?
They're showing it. 11.90 bid, 200,000 on Arca right now. Holy mackerel! Somebody, it's a big order. I don't know if that's somebody screwed up or something, but 200,000 times 10, that's $2.4 million order right there. Wow, that's a big order. I forget what I was saying. I just was talking about Cloudera. I brought it up, and I was like, wow, that's a big order.
That was actually my order. I'll take that off. Sorry.
Spencer, you put too many zeros on that. Not 200. I want to buy 200 shares, and I accidentally bought 200,000 shares. Hopefully, your
Dennis.
program has a trigger for that. When I put too many zeros on something, it'll pop up and say, "Do you really? This is over your amount. That you want to do. Do you really want to do this?" I was like, "Oh no! I didn't mean to do that."
I was going to say, Dennis, better make sure it's not your order, because we can harken back to when you were running that rebalancing and you never turned your system off and you kept on getting new positions, and you're like, "Who is buying this thing?" And it was you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that was an algo, and that's back when I was doing a lot of algorithmic trading back in 2000. Oh man, what year was that? 2010 maybe?
It's when you went to Europe.
10 years ago? Yeah, but I went to Europe a few times. I think 2010, I had an algorithmic market making system that was playing them closing imbalances onto the Russell, and I had it running, and I bought a pile of stocks. I bought like my system bought like 200 stocks in like 2 seconds, and then it's like, oh, it's too many. I'm like feeling like, and I can handle it. Like my account can handle it, but so it's not like I was, I'm over, what I can afford. But I'm like, this is just too much. 200 stocks is too much for me to handle. So I'm trying to get out of them. And then I'm like, I thought I just sold that stock. I'm like, why do I own it again? I was trying to get out of it because I was going to Europe. I wanted to be flat. I had 15 minutes to try to get rid of these 200 stocks that I just bought because I wanted to be flat. There's no way, that you can, get out of all this stuff. And yeah. And then I'm looking. I thought I just sold this, and I was like, oh my goodness, I minimized the system. I didn't shut it off. So it's still buying stocks. So I'm selling stocks, and then it's buying other stocks. So anyways, here's a good tip for you. If you run algorithmic programming, and you do any type of algorithmic trading, don't put a minimize button on your program. This is stuff, that I had written and created on my own. It's my own, system. And I minimized the software. And meanwhile, it was running in the background, and I didn't know it was running in the background. So have it going on, off, but it wants to be on your screen. Don't put a minimize button because it was running in the background. Maybe that's what Knight did wrong in 2012.
Yeah, remember that?
They had the minimize button on there. So anyways, that was a little bit, scary. I hedged myself overnight. I got rid of like 100 stocks. I was still at like 100 or something like that. Flew to Europe. I had hedged myself overnight. I just said, look, I got to hedge out the market risk. So, did a bunch of SPY short against it, which was a lot of SPY. And I traded out from England on the Monday morning. So it worked out okay. I ended up losing a little bit of money, but I was okay. But
it could have been a lot worse.
Oh, yeah, it could have been a lot worse.
Let's talk Boeing here. And then we're going to do Cheesecake Factory for Nick. So let's do the Boeing, getting some activist interest.
This is from Third Point, Dan Loeb's fund, and they reportedly have a new stake, and then Boeing was one of their big winners.
Is that confirmed?
According to Bloomberg. Bloomberg said that Boeing was a big winner for Dan Loeb in May.
You think about the money managers, and you think about, well, they're going to be looking at stuff, and are they going to be chasing, the stocks that have went up 200-300%? Probably not. They're probably looking like I am. What hasn't gone yet? So, what is still sitting near the lows that I could potentially jump into there? And you look at a Boeing, we talked about this, and, we were talking about it back when it was 135 on the show 2 weeks ago.
Yep,
and saying, look, the market sentiment has turned towards some of these laggards. This is a stock that's not far off the lows. This could go. And here it is. It's up 20 points since then. And maybe Dan Loeb is looking at the same thing. You're looking at stocks near the lows. Stock did not make a new low on the move. So from a technical basis, it looked somewhat safe. Obviously, there was headline risk, but we know even the headlines, when they were negative, they were still finding reasons to buy them. So I'm not surprised, some of the money managers are picking on some of these laggards. The laggard trade has turned to the leader trade. And if we look every single day, it's not Facebook. Look at this morning. Look at FANG, Facebook, down $1. Obviously, this, the concerns with the Trump stuff and the virtual walkouts there. But, look at FANG. Amazon trading up, but not even up as much as the market, 0.27%. Netflix trading in the red. It's down 11 cents. Stay at home, so it's come out of favor here a little bit. Google, negative headline. Google's trading in the red here today too. You're not being led by FANG here anymore. You're being led by Citigroup, 2.3%, 8%. It's up. JP Morgan up significantly. You're being led by the airlines again. LUV up 1.7%. American Airlines up 2.23%. So, the laggards have turned to the leaders, and the leaders are somewhat lagging now. So it's turned. It'll turn again, but right now the rotation is all about jumping into those former laggards that are now leaders.
This Boeing chart looks sleepy. Right? I mean, I know the ranges are much bigger because of the fall that it had, but it just looks like it's just been in a trading range, maybe a big trading range. But right now, on the dailies, I mean, we're trading near the highs of the pre-market session, but on the dailies, you have nothing to 164.80. Right. So that's $8 of potential upside. And then the high, when they got a little bit silly in this, when, how like we had that real hard bounce in March, at first after the low, it got to 172.92 and then 186.48. So there's a couple levels in here. Not much daily resistance here in Boeing, and you got some good news, going its way. So even on the monthlies, it looks like it's banging up against the roof here. Your April high was 164.80. So wouldn't want to be short this one.
No,
Hey, did you know that of everybody required to file 13F last quarter, so that's everyone with $100 million in assets or more, Boeing was exited entirely. What was the stock that the most number of hedge funds sold out of entirely last quarter? Boeing was
they sold the bottom.
Yeah, Boeing was the stock that the greatest number of hedge funds exited out of their position entirely.
Sometimes the smart money is the dumb money.
Yep. That is what happened a lot with the market, is that, a lot of, thinkers, sold on the way down, right? It's like, oh, we got to get out of this, right? These markets are in trouble. And then when it turned around, the machines just bought it back up, and they didn't have enough time to redeploy. So I think that's a classic example. Your big sellers on the way down, institutions and some traders, and then way back up, you're just kind of blinking, and now they're having to redeploy into a rising market as opposed to a falling market, which is much, much more difficult.
I mean, Warren Buffett on the airlines.
Yep.
We don't know where he sold yet. It hasn't been fully disclosed. We know where he sold like part of the position, but we don't know where he sold all out. He just said it. It hasn't come out, obviously, in the filing yet, because it's not 45 days later. But you look at this and you think, he might have sold the bottom. So, sometimes, not everybody, even one of the smartest money managers, probably the smartest money manager in the world ever, Warren Buffett, maybe got this one wrong, at least in the short term.
And he didn't. And, usually he does big purchases at times like that. And I mean, I know he did buy some things, but Kroger he picked up. I know there was a little bit along the ways, but I think that was a cue a lot of people were, waiting to happen, it's like signs are like, hey, everything's okay. Like when he bought Goldman and he bought GE during the financial crisis. And then a little bit after that, he bought Bank of America. You didn't see that. I think that's one thing a lot of investors were waiting for. Let's do, Nick has been real patient, and he wants us to cover Campbell Soup. We cover a lot of stocks, and we do talk about Campbell Soup. Maybe no one else does, but Spencer, give us the report.
Second, pulling it up on my Pro. There we go. Okay, Q3 adjusted EPS 83 cents versus a 71-cent estimate. Sales of 2.24 versus $2.17 billion. So they beat on the top and the bottom line in the third quarter. They also raised their EPS guidance for the year. They raised it pretty significantly by about 32 cents on the low end of the range. The previous low end of the range was $2.55 per share. Now it is $2.87 per share. So a guidance raise, an EPS guidance raise, and a beat on the top and bottom lines in the quarter.
Report was fine. I don't think they're going to blast this off. This is still a risk-on market right now. It's a defensive stock. It's had a nice run into the report here.
Very
it's up
nice
a little
run.
bit.
Yep.
I can't get excited about this, even though it was a good report.
It gave you a look at 54 real quickly. You had to be out there. It hit 54 on the headline number.
Wow.
And then just look at the dailies there. You got a couple highs at 53.87, 53.92. You've backed off from that. So I like the 54 for today. And I also like it long term as well. That'd be a big move to bust above that and make a run at 56. But it's got a $1.30 to go. I don't know if there's any size in the book there, but keeping an eye on 54. On the downside, you don't want to see it red after having that kind of run up into the print. Well, we were like 46.93 was your low last week. Just as long as it stays above 52.01 was the closing price, then I still like the trend higher. Would not like to see it go red on the day after being that green.
All right, it is 8:36. Let's bring on today's guest. Time flies when you're having fun. What can I say? Let's bring on today's guest, Bill Santiago. He is a trader and a comedian. Bill,
he's got the mask on, of course.
Good morning. Oh man, let me see if I can.
In your closet?
Let me unmute him. I'm having an issue with the Zoom.
We're trying to unmute Bill. We're trying to unmute Bill. We can't hear you yet, Bill. We're trying to unmute you.
I'm not sure why. Bill, maybe unmute yourself.
There he is.
Can you hear me now?
We got you. Are you in your closet? Where are you? Are you in your closet?
Yeah, it's called my office, but you can go to the closet if you want.
He's bunkered down with a mask on.
I'm ready
for World War III.
I'm ready to go. I'm a little tired. I was out looting last night. Trying to show some support. Show the kids they can be a part of the problem. They don't have to be a part of the solution. Other than that, I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're here. We're doing okay.
What took you so long? I've been waiting for you guys to call me. It's been
Joel's
months.
fault.
You always forget about me during an apocalypse. Why is that? You make me feel very non-essential.
Talk about the last. How's the last 2-3 months been for Bill Santiago?
Yeah,
I haven't had a haircut in 2 or 3 months. Can you tell?
It looks
Look at
good.
this. That's how it's been. That's how it's been. I'm enjoying this market though, man. FOMO sapiens all the way.
FOMO sapiens, right?
That's it. FOMO. I like that. We're gonna patent that.
All-time highs. No, but I'm
FOMO
like
sapiens.
I'm like Dennis though. I'm still waiting for a retest of the December 24th lows in 2018.
We're not getting it.
Meanwhile, the market keeps climbing. This it's not even a wall of worry. It's a Mount Everest of worry, a wailing wall of anarchy, a Niagara Falls of caca, and there's no stopping it. But I just want to be clear. I stay my position. I know you guys are going to ask. I'm going to front run the question. Okay, this is not. I repeat, not a V-shaped recovery. It's not a V. V is off the table. No matter how high it goes, it's not an L. It's not an LGBTQ XYZ. This is clearly an FU-shaped recovery. Any way you look at the charts are screaming FU. Even the cruise ship stocks. Did you guys buy any cruise ships?
No.
Oh, man, you missed it.
Not yet.
Have you been doing some buying?
You missed it. I sold everything at the bottom. This thing, Mark Shakin told me it was not too late to sell everything and go into cash 100%. I like to follow advice of the experts, so no, I didn't buy anything. But even the cruise ship stocks.
Everything's
the
hot.
Cruise ship stocks, they're soaring. But you know why? I bet you guys don't even know why, because all you do is read the technicals. You don't go into the fundamentals like I do. I do my research, okay?
Okay.
Tell us about your research, Bill.
The cruise ship stocks are soaring because they changed all the names of the ships, and the market is loving that.
What's the names of the ships?
I'm glad you asked.
I'm scared. PG show.
Incredible marketing strategy. These guys are thinking. They're ahead of the curve. Okay, here's just a sampling of some of the new cruise ship names, like infectious disease of the seas, pandemic princess,
that one rolls off the tongue.
Wind spirit, ICU of the ocean blue, Corona Queen, the Cuomo Clipper.
Yeah, that one's not bad.
Clipper.
The SS Trumptanic and the Fauci Fun Boat.
The Fauci Fun Boat. This is good stuff.
I mean, You can't stop. Nothing makes sense. This market has zero tolerance for anything that makes sense. Disney is up. You can't get in. They've got cruise ships. They got movies. They got sports. They got no dividend.
But it's a good stock.
But you have to understand why. Why does it keep going up?
Why?
Because the market itself is the magic kingdom now. As long as Powell keeps sprinkling the pixie dust, it doesn't matter if Mickey's goofy. It's going to keep going up. What about Boeing? I know Dennis is a big fan of Boeing. Did you hold on to it?
No. I wish I was in. I talked about buying it. I actually never bought it, I don't think. I day traded it. I didn't buy it.
You're a Boeing fan. Well, if you didn't, it's a mistake because it's following the Disney paradigm. They're taking the lead from Disney. Boeing now is going to open up a theme park just like Disney, but the only ride is the 737 MAX.
Oh man, come on. Come on.
I knew that was coming.
The plane.
Come on.
The plane. It's only one plane. It gets pulled around by Clydesdales, and that'll be the only way you can fly it for the next 10 years. But it doesn't matter. The stock's going to all-time highs because the market is a forward-looking, delusional discounting mechanism.
Delusional. I like that word.
Yeah. With all that liquidity, who needs dry powder?
What about on the way down, Bill? Did you?
Oh, on the way down, I like to wait to the very bottom so I can lock in my losses. I don't sell on the way down. I wait. I wait till the RSI is down there around 1, and then I go, okay, this is it. This is it. Now it's time to just get into cash. But you know what? But these are crazy times. I mean, you can't make any sense. I hear you guys struggling to make sense every day. You cannot. Look at what's happening across the spectrum of news. Elon Musk is putting men back on the moon while most of Trump's base are still flat earthers. Who says this country doesn't embrace diversity?
Bill, what do you think of Elon Musk?
Are you guys? Oh, I love Elon. I love Elon. I get into him. He reminds me of Tony Stark.
The stuff he can do is incredible. I mean, people have a love or there's nobody in the middle. You like Elon Musk or you don't like Elon Musk. There's no I don't have an opinion on Elon.
All you got to do is see him land one of those rockets on a boat, and you're like, how the hell did
on
he
a
do
platform that's like 4 feet by 4 feet?
Whatever he does, I mean that's science fiction. Elon Musk is science fiction. That's
crazy.
Have you ever seen a picture of him when he was young?
No.
Oh man, he's come a long way. Even that.
He's come a long ways.
That's more impressive. That's more impressive than the landing he sticks on those ships. Let me tell you.
What about some of these? What if some of these COVID plays like Zoom and Slack?
I'm past that. I'm into the race riot rally. Here's what I don't understand. How is it that of all the countries in the world, we're the only one having post-pandemic race riots? This hasn't happened in any other country. We're making the whole rest of the world look like they handled the pandemic perfectly. Even Italy is like, wow, get it together, USA. It's just the pandemic. How are you falling apart over this? You know, I'm taking the corona more seriously now. I wasn't at first because I don't know, it wasn't hitting at home, and I wasn't really taking the riot seriously either until I found that Tom Hanks was looting. And then I thought, this is serious.
No, but Bill, in all seriousness, you're in New York, right? So how has it been for you just this entire situation in these past few weeks?
I'm on lockdown. I'm going bonkers. I'm doing homeschooling. I just learned how to do long division again, and tomorrow we're doing obtuse angles. That's how I'm doing.
Acute and obtuse.
We're all locked in. We can't go anywhere. They'll be knocking on the door in like 30 seconds. We got a very narrow window of opportunity to finish.
He's living in his closet.
I'll tell you how I'm keeping sane. Who asked that? Spencer? I can't see Spencer. I can see his name up there. All right, but I'm going to address his question.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay. You know, I mean, you got to stay in shape. That's what keeps you sane. I don't have a Peloton. I can't afford a Peloton, but I do have a pogo stick. And it's just as good as a Peloton. It's actually better because the downstairs neighbors, they get in on the action. And it's not just me alone. We got 4 pogo sticks, and we all like to do some pogo in the morning together. And
Get
the
long
downstairs
pogo
neighbors, they
sticks.
love it. They can't get
Who
it.
makes the pogo sticks?
I don't know, but
Nobody
Peloton should put out its own version.
Yeah, there's
The
a good
Peloton
idea
Pogo,
right
the
there.
Pogo.
Yeah, and we could even let's see if the symbol's there. POGO. We even got the stock symbol.
Probably
right
some
there. Oh
fun.
no, somebody's proposed. Somebody already locked it
Could
up.
be Hasbro.
Could be the pogo
What
stick.
do you think about the restaurant stocks? A lot of them are coming back online. opening up-
Chipotle all the way. That's it. I have a connection in Chicago. They would tell me all about the lines on Chipotle. That's the way to do it. But I'm really into losing money, so I.
Is there lines at the Chipotles? Because I've got a buddy that's over and just outside Chicago, and he says his Chipotles are dead when he looks at them. He's went there a few
No,
times.
they're
He's
doing
like,
catering. They're
catering.
yeah. There's not like lines, people standing to eat inside the store. It's all takeout. It's all catering. Any function, it's all Chipotle all the way. That's why they're soaring. They can't keep up with the business.
I would just say that yesterday I had a whole adventure at the DMV, or our version of the DMV, and on my way back I stopped to get some fast food because I haven't had fast food in months because I haven't gone out. And by the time I was done, I drove out and the drive-through line was out onto like the highway, basically wrapped around the building. Is that like
For Chipotle?
No, this is what the hell? Popeyes. I don't know. I tried the
Popeyes.
I tried the spicy chicken sandwich. My Popeyes trade didn't quite work last quarter when they had that sandwich. Everyone was going nuts, or end of the year. But I finally had that sandwich, and it was pretty good. But anyway, the line.
By the way, space is down 10% too. I followed you one day late on that, and I got to get it on the Jason.
Yeah, you know what?
I got to get on the Jason Resnick plays, but those things come quick. The second it comes out of his mouth, it's up 70%. You miss it. You gotta,
pretty much, yeah.
You got to have your hand on the trigger when he's talking.
Yeah, pretty much. Space actually had an offering. I meant to discuss that. They had announced an offering yesterday.
How bad was the corona in Detroit?
It was pretty bad. Not quite as bad as where you were, but it was
Everyone had it here. It's great. My mother had corona. In all seriousness.
Did she really?
Yeah, she survived.
How's she doing?
Thank God.
Is she okay?
Yeah, she's great. She's great. Thank God. It was touch and go there, but she's alive thanks to chloroquine. I'm not making it up.
We don't know that's a joke or not.
I can't tell what.
I know. I knew you would. I knew you wouldn't know, so I have to prove it here. I got the chloroquine right here. Can you see that?
Yeah.
He does. He's got it right there. You're gonna get you're gonna get some people breaking down your door for that.
If you guys need some, I can hook you up. Okay. And here's the funny thing about that. Okay. The doctor recommended chloroquine right away. He didn't buy into any of the hype. He said, "Look, I'm giving it to everybody, and they are surviving. I think this is why you just got to give it earlier." And I told my friends, "Hey, my mother is alive thanks to chloroquine," and they were all upset. How could I let my mother be saved by the Trump drug? They would rather my mother not be alive than Trump be right, was the bottom line.
So you think he's right on this?
I don't know if he's right. I know my mother's alive. If he's not right, my mother survived corona and chloroquine.
There you go. She's a survivor.
So either way, I'm fine. How much time
did she have to go to the hospital? Was she pretty sick? Or
yes, she was. Yes. It's horrible. At first, you go. And unless you're like at death's door, they send you back to die a little more at home, and then you go to the ER.
Yeah, that would. Yeah. That's.
And then and then you wait to see. You can't go anywhere. You can't go anywhere near the place. Luckily, my brother came up from Florida, and he went and stayed with her. Otherwise, she would not have been able to handle it. Yeah, it's bad.
That's
neighbors,
terrible.
our street is emptied out because all our neighbors are gone.
Where'd they go?
They went to the Hamptons in the country.
They died from corona. All of the old people. All of the old people who populate all of the park benches outside our building. There's not that many people on the benches now. They've been thinned out.
That's terrible. That's horrible.
It's true. Yeah.
What about one more sector, Bill? Before we let you go, are you looking?
I don't want to end it on that note.
Okay.
I know we're all depressed now here.
No,
I'm going to bring it back.
The cannabis sector. Are you looking at anything in like ACB or canopy growth? Or have you been adding?
No, I leave at the Spencer. I don't cut it on his territory. I know. I know he's really into that. He gets very excited
What?
about anything that has to do with
Why does
cannabis.
everyone assume that? I don't know why everyone
Because
assumes
Dennis
that.
said it
the
once.
events.
Just did a 1 hour discussion on it. I go through. I listen to all of you guys. I hear about Joel's family breaking windows all over the town.
All right, Bill.
You said wait.
Yeah.
Wait. I just want to ask Joe. Joe, you mentioned in one of your podcasts that your mother-in-law is no longer allowed to go to Planet Fitness because she's caused some structural damage to the last gym that she went to, and then she sued. And then that your sister also broke some glass. I mean, that's
You follow the show a little bit too closely, Bill. Yes. It wasn't Planet Fitness. This was pre-pandemic.
That's because I care. While you people are ignoring me, I'm listening. Okay.
Yes. The Planet Fitness was probably 4 or 5 years ago. My mother-in-law and my sister. That was probably 45, 50 years ago. I just have one hell of a memory, but you got those, Bill. And
hey, did any of you guys get in on the Luckin trade? That was fantastic. I'm like a reverse Jason Resnick on Luckin.
Were you in it?
Oh, all the way down.
Why? No, Bill.
Because when you can sell it to zero.
Yeah, you got a write-off for yourself there.
Yeah.
Tax write-off.
Bill Santiago, he's a trader. He's also a comedian. You can find him on
He's
Twitter.
the best.
He is funny. You can find him on Twitter at, what's your Twitter handle, Bill? Santiago.
Yeah, you can't find me. I don't want to be found. You can't. It's impossible to find me. I don't have time. I gotta fix it. I gotta tidy up my closet here.
All right. Bill Santiago comedy. No, Bill Santiago. Just at Bill Santiago. That's your Twitter. All right, Bill. As always, a pleasure. Stay safe, and we'll talk to you again
real soon.
Let's do it again.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
Always nice to get some jokes and some lively commentary.
Wow.
If only to make us
I'm
feel
exhausted after that.
Yeah.
I need a nap.
I'm with you.
You get on edge too. You're like, keep it on side. He started a little bit like, I don't know if he's going to go into, but it was good.
Boeing, he made some Boeing cracks before, but no, I love listening to him, love his perspective on the market. So we're going to have to get him back. I see that the chat is just buzzing here. So Bill, if you're still listening and you ever get out to do another show, I think you're going to get some people out there because you're very, very entertaining. Let's keep it up. Market just hanging up here at the highs of the pre-market session. Dennis, did you see any? Must be just littered with buying balances, and
it is. But I tell you, you've got rotation happening here again. Look at the S&Ps trading up, 0.6%. IWM blasting off, leading the way. The small caps again. The laggard trade 1.35%. And look at what is, in the dust here. The Q's barely holding green here. So you're seeing the techs roll over here this morning. I know Apple's trading higher. We already looked at FANG, though. Facebook's now down $1.50. Amazon has started to leak and has now went into the red. Netflix is down and Google is down. So the entire FANG is down on another up day here. Jumping over and just looking at other tech stocks too, same story. We're seeing some weakness in what was your leaders are becoming your laggards. AMD trading down again here. NVIDIA is trying to go red here right now. So just because you see the market going higher doesn't mean everything's going higher. There's definitely a laggard trade happening for the techs here right now.
Yeah, good rotation. I see Zoom coming off a little bit, still up $1.44. That just making a little bit more relevance to yesterday's high. So we have peeled off, still up $1.44. So I'll throw that close in there at 208.08. 208.08, and then now see if we make a run at yesterday's high. I mean, the way that seller came in during the pre-market or the after hours yesterday. I mean, there has to be more than one person that's, long a lot of stocks. So we'll see if you come in, but definitely a reversal here with about 35 minutes to go before the opening. S&P's just inching up here towards that 310250. That was your March 5th high. Did we want to talk about Goose that had some earnings, trading up $1.13?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
we Canada some love here.
Canada love.
Okay. Canada Goose. give you their numbers here, reporting earnings this morning, and they gave what did they give? Q4 adjusted EPS of 12-cent loss, sales of $140.9 million. That's Canadian. They said that the negative effects of COVID will be more pronounced in this quarter's report. Obviously, most people are the same way. Fiscal year adjusted EPS guidance, they gave $1.32, and sales guidance for the year at $958 million. So let me see if I can get some estimates for you real fast.
Is this a dash for trash, Dennis? I don't know. I mean, those heavy.
Oh yeah,
heavy.
retail.
They're winter coats that are too heavy to wear.
It's a retail play. Retail has come back into favor here.
Okay.
There's no doubt about it for the last little bit. So I'm not surprised. I mean, you can look here, and Express had an absolute disaster. We'll come back to Goose here in a second, but EXPR, just an epic disaster of a report. It's not trading down much because it's at $1.87, and people are like, well, we'll buy the trash. I mean, the Express report, that they lost $1. This is Q1.
I'll read you these numbers.
Yeah, read them.
They lost $1.55 per share last quarter. The estimate was that
Q1, which had a good 2.5 months in there, a good normal 2 months.
The estimate was that they would lose 28 cents. So they lost over $1 per share more than the analysts thought they would. And then revenue, $210 million. The estimate was at $323 million. So they missed estimates by over $100 million on the revenue. So dramatic misses on the earnings and the revenue. And yeah, that was just the first quarter. That wasn't even.
It wasn't the second quarter, which
April
is going to be the bad one. This was going to be the okay one. It was a disaster. And decisive actions taken to maintain liquidity. You never want to see companies in their reports talking about decisive actions taken to maintain liquidity. That's telling you that they're doing everything they can to survive here right now. I don't think it does. I think AXPR, I think you're going to see this one fall. It's just my opinion. I feel like this is one that was already teetering, and I don't think it survives. But with that being said, I'm going to short it because here it is, disaster report. They're talking about liquidity issues. And, yes, they're taking some action to stop it. Of course, when you're on your deathbed, you're going to do whatever you can to try to survive. But, I mean, here's a stock that's been a clear downtrend for a lot of years. I do believe eventually this is going to succumb. It's just my opinion. Just looking and I don't follow the companies closely, but I know a mall-based retailer, and they've had difficulty even before COVID. So I think COVID has maybe pushed them over the ledge. But with that being said, it's holding up okay. So it's showing you that retail's back in favor because the stock's not down significantly.
And we were just talking about the Goose before we had that little segue there. It's trading up, not a lot of volume here, but man, if you're looking for something that hasn't been bought, this is it. So keep an eye on the opening, and they could run this thing. I'm not sure what the short interest is either. Definitely room. I mean, you're trading up here above your May 12th high. Maybe see what happens if you get a little bit more of a bump at 23.42, but maybe a little bit of a short squeeze in this one. But trading above your May 11th high, but not quite shy of your May 8th high, 23.42. We'll see if I don't know if I could buy it up here, but maybe if it comes down to the top of yesterday's range, what was that? 21.87 or gets closer to $22, maybe got a little of a lower risk.
We haven't talked restaurants yet, but Cheesecake Factory is up, Red Robin is up. They both announced that they're reopening their locations. Dash for trash on these guys too.
Cheesecake Factory, I was going to buy this last night on this headline. It is a good headline. So, and just read us the headline on CAKE. Here's a stock that's still hanging out somewhat near the lows. And you say it was a good headline. I wouldn't quite call it a good headline. I guess it was like positive, but they're reopening 25%, or they've reopened 25% of their restaurants. There was something else said too.
I wouldn't call that good.
Well, yeah, but there was something else in the business release that I saw, and you can look at I'm looking at it right now. It came out of 415.
All right.
Approximately okay, so here's what I like. The reopened Cheesecake Factory restaurants have recaptured on average approximately 75% of prior year sales levels, reflecting continued strength in off-premise sales and building dine-in business. So the stores that they reopened,
I don't know,
are coming. They're just reading from the press release. The stores that are reopened have got 75% of their prior year sales levels. That's a hell of a lot better than
That's
these
good.
Ubers and
No, but
Lyfts that are
strength in
still
off-
down 80%.
But strength in off-premise sales, that's going to decline when we go back to our regular programming and our regular lives.
Either
right?
way,
So-
I see a business that's at ground zero getting 75% of its sales, and not saying overall because we know that the majority of the stores are still closed, but the ones that are open seem to be doing pretty well. I like this. I like this headline. I wouldn't want to be short the stock. I don't know if I want to chase it. I almost feel like chasing it. I was going to chase it last night. I looked at it at 21.80. I was going to buy up at 21.70 or 21.80. It's up another $1 from them, so I'm kicking myself. I like that headline. Think about Cheesecake Factory, though. This is a restaurant that was firing on all, not firing on all cylinders, but was doing fine before COVID. You have a lot of restaurants in different businesses, retail businesses that weren't doing well, like Express was not doing well. And not that we're comparing, a mall retailer to a restaurant, but, there's some that were doing well before COVID and some that weren't doing well. Cake was fine. It wasn't doing great, but it wasn't doing bad. Those businesses, there's still lineups at the doors, on a Friday night to go into those places. So the business model itself is still fine. It's just a matter of, where COVID takes it from here. But getting 75% of their sales back at the existing stores, if that's true, and it's coming right from the company, sounds pretty good to me.
It did get hit. It has a lot of room on the upside. Well, I'll say the same thing I say all the time. Portions are just way too big there.
I like big portions. That's probably why I like Cheesecake Factory. I'm a big eater.
I was at Cheesecake.
The weight's going back up too.
I was at
Oh,
Cheesecake.
what are you?
March.
What are you? 210?
Yeah, approaching 210 again. I got to start doing something.
Oh, there's a lot of.
What were you doing at Cheesecake Factory? Back in March, you were at Cheesecake Factory?
Yeah, and it was my first time there in like 10 years. But,
Was it good?
It was fine. Dennis, I started running again. You got to join me on my runs.
Are you on Strava?
No, I'm on the Nike app.
Download Strava.
Nike.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, because I have my whole history going back like 8 years. On
That's
the
fine.
Nike
It can just take it over, and Strava will take it over. Strava can go along with your Nike app. Download Strava. I'll follow you on Strava. We'll start and trying to get each other.
I don't want people seeing me. I don't
Well,
need
hide
that.
it.
Okay.
Oh, you don't want me to see you.
You are people. All right. I'll wrap it
people.
up here. Thanks to our guest, Bill Santiago. Thanks to everyone in our chats. Don't forget to hit the like button on our YouTube videos. That tells YouTube that we exist, and it helps us with their mysterious algorithm. So like us on YouTube, catch our replay of our show on YouTube or on our podcast. Please remember that all the information from our show is meant to be used as informational purposes and not for investing or trading advice. Everyone have a great rest of your Wednesday. Joel and I will be back at 3:40, and then all three of us will be back with you tomorrow morning. Have a good one.